Hello, welcome back to another episode. So this week I have literally, as of tonight, just signed up for the Forum Rotary Jamboree. Unfortunately, I can't make it on the Saturday, so I'm only just putting it in the show and shine. I really wanted to do the time attack, which is on the Sunday, but I just haven't had any chance to do any testing or anything like that. The first test day that I'm going to be able to make it to will probably be in September. So I'm just going to chuck it in the show and shine, and yeah, just let people check it out and see what they think. Yeah, got a few things to do before I actually chuck it in the show and shine. And I've actually done a couple of things as well. As you can see now, I've now put a sticker up on there. A mate of mine. He designed that for me, and I got that all printed out and put on, so that's cool. I'm pretty happy with that. It just makes the engine bay look a bit more better. I don't know. I have a water leak that has just started to show up, and I know exactly where it is. It's the tube that goes through the valley again. So we've got to change the O-ring on that. I put a brand new one on, but I have a funny feeling that the set that I got, just the quality was real rubbish, and the actual O-rings themselves were like of a smaller diameter than the stock ones. So I do have a couple of stock ones here that I can clean up and put in, and might even just put in with a bead of silicone or something around it just to hopefully help. I don't know if that will or not. Yeah, other than that, so I'm just going to clean up some wiring. I want to paint the floor inside. I don't know if I'll get time to do that, as it's in 16 days. But I might make a plate, because the last time I drove it, I noticed that my heel of my shoe kept on getting caught on, I'll show you. So in Mitsubishi GTOs, the loom comes down and runs under the floor here. And I put some grip tape on top of it just to, help being a bit grippy. But I keep on catching my heel on the actual, like down on that side of it there. So what I might do is I might make a plate that goes over the whole floor here, kind of like a false floor, that goes over top of that and covers that all up, and then it'll be all good, and that will solve that problem. Other than that, everything else is pretty good. Yeah, like I said, I just wanted to paint the floor. Over there you can see where I reinforced the sills and I burnt some of the paint on the inside, so that just needs a clean up. Whether I just paint that red or if I paint the whole floor red, I haven't actually decided yet. Because I was thinking about painting all the floor black. I have some black here. I might still do it. It just means that I've got to pull the wing off and clean it all up and get it ready for paint. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet or not. Yeah, on other news, I now have a new turbo. Alright, so I've managed to get myself another turbo. This one here seems to have the exact same compressor and very similar core to the one I have, but it has a 1.06 exhaust housing, twin scroll exhaust housing, still T3 flange, and it has a V-band rear exhaust. But that should bolt straight up, and everything else seems to be the same, like the oil lines and everything like that seems to be exactly the same, so I should be able to use all of them. I'm hoping to actually be able to use my turbo and core bolted onto that exhaust housing. But what I might end up doing is just buying this turbo off Mike and keeping it and just using the whole turbo, and then keeping that one as a spare, or even having twin maps I can pick between if I want maximum power or maximum response. But we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. Alright, so for tonight I'm going to have to pull everything off and get to this O-ring and see why it's leaking. It's going to be good though. It'll give me a chance to maybe hopefully tidy up some of this wiring and that, especially with it being in a show coming up. So I'll just rip into that and we'll see how we go. So I've got it all off now, and as you can see, it might be a bit bright, but that little O-ring there is the culprit. I'll pull it off and I'll show you the other ones, and then hopefully you might be able to see get a bit of an idea of the difference between them. Now, just gonna stick that up there. There we go. Right, so let me just grab a pick from there. Okay. So I don't know if you can see. That's the new one, and that's the old one. The old one's actually thicker in diameter than the new one. I wonder if you can see it this way a bit easier. You can see that the old one sits up higher than the new one. I'll grab my verniers and get an exact measurement for you. Hold on. This one here, it was a brand new one as of before I went to the last dyno, and that is the diameter of it is, like the actual thickness of this is 3.5 mils, and this is this is an old one, but it's a genuine one. This one straight away is 4.4 mils, so it's almost a whole mil bigger. And so I think that would be why I've had my leaking problem with these scungy little ones. So I don't even know why the hell I'd send you those. It's a waste of bloody time. But not to worry, this one here is second hand, but it's in really good condition. I was going to use this one, but this one's a bit not quite as good, so I won't use that one. But I'll use this one here, and I'll get this in, and we'll just put a bit of silicone around the outside here, just to help out, and we'll just get it back together. She's all bolted back up now. I put some silicone around the inside of the sleeve, which the O-ring slides inside of. So hopefully that should stop the leaking. I'll give it 24 hours to set before I worry about putting any liquids in it again. So that's all on now. That one there's just been kinked around like that to blank it off. This actual little housing had 8 different fittings that needed blocking off once I ditched the twin turbos, because the twin turbos obviously have all their own water cooling and all that. And then also I used to go up to the cold start idle controller and all that sort of stuff up, which is now on the other side, so that's all been blanked off. So that's all good, that's all sorted. I've also noticed that this here is just weeping a bit of oil, but the rocker covers will be coming off at some stage to be modified with some better breather bungs, so I'm not too stressed about that at the moment. I can just pop them out and get some of them at a later date, so not too worried about that. So just going to chuck on a couple of hoses back on now, and I'm going to see if I can tidy up some of the wiring just to make it look a bit nicer. I might move some of these plugs here deeper down under the plenum there, and maybe build a cover or something so they don't stand out, make it look a bit prettier. I'm not gonna go too hardcore, because that's really not what this car's about, although I might pull that hose out there. This hose here, here's the silly thing, this hose here that comes on here, I had plugged into my rocker cover, and that's where it goes on the twin turbo, so that was all good, I was all happy. But on the twin turbo, that fitting there that goes into rocker cover has a one-way valve in it. So another one of the issues I was having was I was pumping 15-pound of boost straight into my sump. So, oops. So I wound this bolt into it, but the problem is when I put the bolt into it, that hose all split because it's all old and perished. So I can actually get to it quite nicely now, so I might pull that off and just put a blank in down there and get that sorted. So I might do that right now. Alright, so everything's back together now. I've got all the pipes back on. I've tidied up the some of the wiring a little bit. May not look it, but it is a little bit tidier than what it was before. So that's all good. Everything's hooked back up. I've started it. I've filled it up with water. It doesn't appear to be leaking yet. So I'll just see if it's still full of water in the morning or if it's drained down. It might drain down a little bit because I haven't bled the system or anything. I've literally just filled it up with coolant. So yeah. So that's going to be it for this week's episode. I'm sorry this one is late, being Saturday night, but unfortunately I just had a really insanely busy week on the farm and just had some issues with a sick cow, so we really just had to look after that first, and the car kind of had to take a back step. Next week, in the next week's episode, I am going to be doing more stuff for the Forum Rotaries. First up will be, I got to make a splitter for it. A mate of mine, Andrew Wasley, thank you very much for all your advice, mate, has pretty much shown me how he's done all his splitter, and it looks pretty simple, so I'll give that a crack. And another thing I want to do is I want to build an A-frame for it so I can tow it without needing a trailer, just because the trailer's not really in my budget at the moment. So we just get an A-frame sorted, be able to tow it to the track and there and have some fun in it, so that'll be cool. So that will be next week. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Cheers.